Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Wilhelm Scream, and welcome back to the channel for more Destiny 2 news and intel. And today, once again, is Friday, so we have our Friday weekly update. XUR has returned, as well as Trials of Osiris. So I'm going to give you a rundown on all the loot regarding those two things, as well as all the other farms, glitches, and cheeses that you can use heading into the weekend. If you haven't had a chance to play very much this week, definitely some interesting stuff to cover. Have my buddy Divine Supreme Lord Sin hanging out with me in the tower today. Remember, if you ever want to hang out during a XUR video in the tower, you can always just send me a friend request in-game. I try to accept all of them, and maybe you can hop into a video. I'd love to see more people who watch the channel hop in. But if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on the bell, the post notifications, so you never miss out on any future Destiny 2 content like this. You can also follow me on Instagram. It'll be linked in the description box down below. And remember, any of those things will also enter you into any future giveaways on this channel. And we do one every 1,000 subscribers. So you never want to miss out. When we reach 100,000 subscribers, we'll be giving away an Xbox Series or a PlayStation or a video card if you play on PC. You can also leave a comment down below on any of the topics of discussion. Always interested to hear all your thoughts, or anything I might mispronounce in today's video. It'll also give you another entry into the next giveaway. You can also stick around, of course, till the end of the video for the secret hashtag you can leave in the comments section for another entry as well. So, to start off today's catalyst, we have the Cold Heart Catalyst. I actually heard that this is a pretty good weapon at the moment as far as PvE meta goes, so this might be worth a pickup. Also, haven't seen it sold for quite some time. We have the Borealis Catalyst, the Exoitc sniper. This was actually one of my favorite snipers from D1, but I haven't used it that much in D2. It was primarily a PvP focused weapon, at least for me. Maybe it's more on the PvE side now, but if you don't have the Catalyst, pick it up. We have a Graviton Forfeit for the Hunter class with a 67 roll. Actually looks pretty good. Mobility isn't lost on the Hunter class, and 67 is very high for an exotic roll from XUR. This is also, I think, probably it might be a combination PvP, PvE weapon, and I think that this is a decent roll, especially if you're going to be building into it. We have the ACD Feedback Fence for the Titan with a 65 roll, high in resilience and discipline. Also, not a bad roll, and though I don't think this is necessarily the standout meta exotic of the weekend or for Titans in general, it's certainly not a bad roll and a decent stat distribution to pick up if you don't have them. And then we have the Sanguine Alchemy for the Warlock class with a 68 roll, and I would say a very good or very decent stat distribution. I would have liked to see maybe strength into intellect, maybe mobility into resilience, recovery, or discipline, or maybe even into intellect. But overall, 68 is still very, very high, and if you don't have this exotic, this is definitely worth the pickup. Also, maybe not, like I said with the other two, the standout meta exotic for the Warlock class at the moment, but still not a bad one. We also have exotic ciphers available this week, so make sure to pick up them if you're looking to turn any of your exotic armor essentially into an artifice piece of armor, even though I know armor is changing and artifice will be going away heading into the summer, but still worthy of the moment. We also have our exotic cipher quest on the other page if you're looking for one more, and then of course you can get another exotic cipher, as well as the Ascendant Alloy and Ascendant Shards if you rank up XUR, and it is worthy to rank up XUR just for those. Also, remember, you can get red border weapons from XUR'S strange Engrams. I sometimes forget to mention that. Over on our more strange offers page, we have our Favor of the Nine buff from XUR for the week. Always remember to pick this up because it makes some of the easier activities in the game, mainly just planetary or directory select strikes, so something like Devil's Lair. You don't have to necessarily go into the Vanguard playlist in order to farm that out for strange coins. You could just select it from the Cosmodrome, and it's a very fast strike to do. All the strikes on the Cosmodrome are actually really, really fast. So once you have this buff running and you can stack it up to 3 times, you'll be able to get a lot of strange coins from very easy activities like the Devil's Lair strike or any of the other Cosmodrome strikes. So make sure to pick it up. We have 2 Ascendant Shards for 71 strange coins. We have 7 Enhancement Cores for 7 strange coins. I think I'll actually take this deal today. We have 13 Enhancement Cores for 17 strange coins. We have 22,000 Glimmer for 5 strange coins. Always going to pick up my Glimmer. And we have 44,000 Glimmer for 7 strange coins. Also going to take that. We also have Nightfall ciphers available this week. Remember that if you're looking to get any Nightfall weapons, you're probably going to need one of these, especially, or I think 10 of these if you want to get the Adept version of any said weapon. So might be worth the pickup. 97 strange coins is a pretty hefty cost, but I believe the only way to acquire these is actually through doing GM Nightfalls, if I'm not mistaken. It might be normal Nightfalls. You would think I would actually know this, but I end up doing a lot more GM Nightfalls, and I always seem to get these. I don't really end up doing that many normal Nightfalls. Let me know in the comments section down below. It'll also give you another entry into the next giveaway. Do you get these from Nightfalls under GM difficulty? Because I honestly forget. But 2 of those. And then we have our strange gift offer. Not a bad way to spend 1 strange coin at a time. Remember, you'll get interesting things like raid banners, but occasionally blue armor, which is meh. Anyway, heading over to our strange gear offers. The most exciting page of XUR. We have a Hawkmoon with Quick Draw and Heavy Grip. We have a Crimson, which I always really enjoy for both PvE and PvP. We have a Tractor Cannon, everybody's sort of go-to DPS weapon if you don't know what to use. This and Thunderlord are always kind of the go-tos. It's also great for anybody who's trying to put any sort of debuff on a boss. It's one of the best weapons I always see used for solo DPS on certain bosses. So I'm sure a lot of people have this. I think it's still one of the first exotics that the game actually gives out, but worthy picking up if you don't have it. And then we have the Warcliffe Coil, which is also a very worthy weapon to have in your arsenal, as it just nukes some bosses, most notably the Shattered Throne dungeon final boss, which is always sort of the best go-to farm for events like we had just, well, we have the Guardian games going on right now, but more so geared towards like the Dawning or Festival of the Lost, where there's a material you have to pick up that drops from bosses. This is like one of those weapons that just nukes the final boss of that dungeon, as well as some other bosses, as there's been a glitch or two in the past where certain bosses were coded as vehicles, and for some reason this weapon just annihilates all vehicles, and might be the case with the Shattered Throne boss, the final boss, but one person with 2 volleys can destroy that final boss. So make sure you have it if you don't. And then on to our legendary weapons. We have a Legal Action 2 with Moving Target and Rampage. We have a Kept Confidence with Shot Swap, Gut Shot Straight, and Head Rush. Deep Sight activation available, so if you want to craft this. We have a Chishura Mellow. I'm sure I'm saying that incorrectly, but you can let me know in the comments section down below, with Outlaw and Demolitionist. We have a Braze Love with Perpetual Motion, Pugilist, and Head Rush. We have a Temptations Hook with Enduring Guard, Energy Transfer, and Surrounded. We have a Just In Case with Burst Guard, Flash Counter, and Thresh. And then we have an Eternity's Edge with Infinite Guard, Tireless Blade, and Flash Counter. Remember, all the class-specific weapons like swords and certain glaives are now usable by all classes. So if you were never able to use an Eternity's Edge on, say, a Hunter or a Titan, you now can. Same goes for the Titan and Hunter specific weapons, or swords in this case. For this week's legendary armor, we have the MPA Wire Walker armor set. Haven't seen this in quite some time, and I can see why, as this is one of those old glitched armor sets. If you didn't know, all the legendary armor from XUR is supposed to drop at least a 60 roll, and this is obviously being brought back from a season long ago where we just didn't have rolls that high yet, because everything here is in the low 50s. All of this should be at least 60. So unfortunately, a glitched armor set from XUR if you were looking for any rolls on the legendary armor this week. But if you are just looking for something to turn into an ornament, I don't know if this is necessarily the set that I would want. I'm not totally sure exactly what season this set is from. Does it actually say on the... I'm not totally sure. Let me know in the comment section down below what season this armor set is from. It might not have been that long ago, and this might just be some weird... for some reason, I feel like this could be like Season of the Deep or something along those lines, which is not that long ago. We should definitely have more than a 50 roll on this, so it might just be a glitched set of armor. And that's going to be it for XUR today. We're now going to make our way through the tower and go through the directory as well towards the end of the video for any other things that you might have missed this week. We'll start off at Banshee 44, and then we'll make our way over to Saint 14 for this week's Adept Trials loot. And there was one other thing that I did want to talk about, which is actually on my buddy Sinister's character at the moment that he noticed, and I don't know if I've noticed it before, but maybe this is just a new thing that I might have missed the update for or missed the message. But from Banshee 44, we have a Sonora FR5 with Firmly Planted and Wellspring. We have a Nezarac's Whisper with Demolitionist, Adaptive Munition, and Extrovert, another deep sight activation weapon available here if you want to craft it. I had heard earlier this week, actually from a comment, that this was a very good roll earlier this week. I don't think this is the same roll exactly, but maybe close, so it might be worth checking out. Glaives are also really good in PvP at the moment now, so it might be worth thinking about using this if you're going into trials this weekend. We have a Threaded Needle with Killing Wind and Multi-Kill Clip. We have a Shattered Cipher with Auto-Loading Holster and Unrelenting. We have a Bad Omens with Field Prep and Genesis. And then we have a Heiled Denial with Well-Rounded Dragonfly and Extrovert, another craftable weapon available here. I have also seen a lot of Trace Rifles being used in PvP, so maybe there's something going on with that. You can also let me know in the comments section down below. We still have Guardian games available up until the actual launch of Act 3, so a couple more weeks of Guardian games. I did get a message earlier when I signed in that Titans had won this week, so congratulations, Titans. Remember, you can buy a free piece of Artifice Armor from Eva Levant. Some people didn't get this when it was first given out, the class item that is, but you can actually go and buy one. So if you're missing a class item piece of Artifice Armor, just remember to head over there. From our old buddy Commander Zavala this week for the Nightfall and GM Nightfall. The featured weapon was the Wild Style and the Wild Style Adept from the GM. Remember, you can also farm out the Lotus Eater now that it's become available and unlocked. So even the normal version of this weapon, though you can only get the Adept when it is the featured weapon, is still very, very good. If you can get one with Repulsor Brace, the stabilizing rounds, it is an amazing weapon, pretty much as good as the Adept. The Adept might have a couple extra little things, but honestly, that roll is just one of the best rolls you can get on this weapon, period, and this weapon is just one of the best for PvE endgame in the game currently. This week's Nightfall, if you didn't see my video earlier this week, you can go check it out. I have a couple of cheeses and glitches that you can use in this week's Nightfall, which is a very easy one to farm out for both the normal and the GM difficulty. Remember, also have the Nightfall catch-up node that you can use now. Interesting, there was a little glitch earlier this week that actually revealed that we will be getting the Sunless Cell strike back again from D1, and certain people were actually able to play it before it was taken offline, as the game had an unscheduled maintenance because it was available through the catch-up node. So looking forward to that, hopefully in Act 3. But this week's GM Nightfall was actually the Lake of Shadows strike, which is a very old strike. Lots of glitches, lots of cheeses that you can use in this one. Very soloable on the lower level difficulties, even on the GM difficulty. So if you're looking for any of the information regarding how to do any of those things, those glitches or cheeses, remember to check out my last video from earlier this week. But as I said, a very easy and good one to farm out. And now we'll make our way over to Saint 14, as I believe he has something pretty good this week, at least for, I think, both PvP and PvE players alike. It seemed like last week with the rocket launcher was much more of a PvE focused weapons. So it's good. I think that the Lighthouse is so much more accessible now. People who are mainly PvE focused or just Trials averse are jumping into Trials, because I think having the Lighthouse as a location has always been a big carrot that we've never had for those people who play more casually. But this week we have the yesterday's question Adept hand cannon. So good luck getting this. Remember, you can still get an Adept version if you get to a 7-win streak. If you get to 7 wins, you will go to the Lighthouse with the Lighthouse passage. There was also a new loss forgiveness instituted that went live last weekend, and it was actually glitched out. I don't know if it will be this weekend, but essentially, if you just, for example, were in a Trials match, and at the very end you were looking like you were going to lose, you could just go to the Crucible page and then load up a match before the actual previous match totally loaded out. So after the match ended, but before, say, like your accommodation screen came up, you would just load in and you would get not only a loss protection, but it also protected your score streaks, so your win streaks. So if you were trying to get that Adept weapon on a Lighthouse passage, you could still do it that way simply by just reloading in. Now, I don't know if that still works, but it's still worth a try. It's just going to get you into a match quicker at the very end anyway. Going to just quickly head over to my buddy Sinister here and inspect him, because there was something interesting that he had found that I thought was worthy of note, and also very curious if other people have noticed this. On the new weapons, or some of the new weapons, we have the Division, and this is not a new weapon, but False Promise. He noticed that there is some very interesting specific mods. For example, this one, Power of Resolve. Rapid hits with this weapon emit a Taken Seeker projectile, strong against unstoppable champions. Now, I have not seen this on, or at least I have not seen this available on any of the weapons that I currently have. So I don't know if this is a new mod, or if it's just something I missed, or if it's something specific for this weapon, as there is also another one on the Division. That rapid hits with this weapon grants Blight rounds, delaying damage over time to targets hit by this weapon, strong against Overload champions. So maybe this is something specific just to these new weapons. Actually, this might be a new weapon. This might just be a revised version of False Promise, as it's been around for a while. But let me know if you've noticed any of these on any of the weapons that you've been farming out recently. I believe these are all from the Court of Blades, perhaps, or the Nether, specifically the Nether in general. And lastly, we're going to just head around the solar system really quick. Today's legendary lost sector is over in the Dreaming City, in the Chamber of Starlight. Pretty easy one to farm out. We already talked about this week's Nightfall. Oh, before I forget, this week's Trials map is the Radiant Cliffs. Might have forgotten to mention that earlier, so good luck with that. It's pretty open. I think it's somewhat versatile as far as what will be meta. There's probably going to be some sniping, but I think short-range stuff should also do okay. Over on our Legends page, we also have the Prophecy Dungeon, as well as the Ghost in the Deep Dungeon available this week, and the exotic mission is the Operation Seraph Shield. Over on Europa, we have one of our featured raids this week. We have the Deepstone Crypt. On Neptune, we have the Root of Nightmares. In SAVATHUN'S Throne World, we have the Sundered Doctrine, our featured dungeon at the moment. And remember, that was refreshed if you were looking to farm it out over the course of the weekend. We also had our game updates and act updates, story updates for everything going on over in the Last City, for the Nether, as well as we have Court of Blades. And that is going to conclude all the information in today's video. Hopefully you found something in this video helpful. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, as I said before. You can also follow me on Instagram. It'll be linked in the description box down below. If you've watched to this point in the video, you can leave a hashtag XUR, or a hashtag Trials of Osiris, or a hashtag Sinister, or a hashtag The Final Shape, or hashtag Heresy, or hashtag Guardian Games in the comments section down below for another entry into the next giveaway for this video. Also, remember to check out the pinned comment. If Sinister is ever streaming Trials, I will always have his stream up, and that's probably one of the best places if you ever want to play a Trials match with myself or Sinister to check out. So make sure to head over there if you do see the Twitch link pinned. Remember to comment down below on any of your thoughts, feedback of today's video. Always interested to hear any information about any of the topics I might have asked for or anything I might have mispronounced. Hopefully everybody has a great weekend. And of course, I'm Wilhelm Scream. We will see you next time.